Starting as an ordinary ape among many, modern humans became the most dominant form of life on Earth in just a few thousand years. During this time, they adapted the global flora and fauna to their needs. Today, about 97% of land-dwelling mammals are humans or their domesticated animals. Humans took control over the planet to such an extent that it's hard to imagine a world without us. The story behind this rise is extremely fascinating and will be explored in this video series. Life exists on a spectrum of relatedness with gradual transitions. Life forms are constantly adapting to their environment. The dynamic of this adaptation process can be different for each life form, depending on the environmental pressure exerted on it. The fact that a crocodile still looks more or less the same today compared to a crocodile that lived millions of years ago indicates that this species has always been a very successful hunter. Life forms that experience more pressure from their environment also change more in their appearance and genes over time and eventually evolve into new species or disappear. When two species are genetically close, they share a more recent common ancestor, while genetically distant species share common ancestors further back in time. Species that can't adapt to a changing environment disappear, making room for more adaptable life forms. This creates a flexible and complex system where new life forms constantly emerge, vanish, or evolve. All life today is the result of a constant selection process. If we assume that there are 10 million species now, that's just a small fraction of the 3.5 billion species in Earth's history. The total number of all species living on Earth today is just a tiny fraction of all life forms that have existed at some point in the past and are now extinct. The origin of life remains uncertain. It may have started independently on Earth or arrived from the outside. If we imagine this event at the center of a color wheel, life has evolved continuously. Organisms specialized in specific environments over time, leading to more diverse species. All life shares a common origin. This Adam or Eve is in the center of the color wheel and is called Luca. Luca is an acronym for Last Universal Common Ancestor. This Adam or Eve is the first life form on Earth, and everything alive descends from it. So when you hear people saying that humans share common ancestors with chimpanzees, that's undoubtedly true, but the same can be said about any other species. If you trace back the human lineage far enough, you also find common ancestors with dogs, plants and bacteria, all the way down till we finally meet Luca. All members of the family of great apes followed the same lineage for a long time. About 15 million years ago, the lineage leading to orangutans split off, followed by gorillas around 10 million years ago, and finally the lineages leading to humans and chimpanzees separated about 5 to 7 million years ago. Many other primate species and genera went extinct. We know about some of them, for example the genera Proconsul and Oreopithecus. Both of them have lived millions of years ago. It's likely that many other unknown species may have lived once in the past, but if no bones are left which could be used to identify them as another species, they will probably never be discovered. Because of the latest separation between humans and chimpanzees, humans are genetically closer to chimpanzees than chimpanzees are to all other apes. While we're at it, a quick side note. I always talk about the lineage leading to a life form. When the lineage leading to orangutans split off, they were something completely different. Today's orangutans are just the current representation of the last 15 million years of evolution. Ancestor species that lived millions of years ago probably look nothing like the orangutans we see today. These four genera make up the family of great apes, each with species and subspecies, the smallest taxonomic unit. Subspecies can interbreed, but rarely do so in the wild. If it happens, then mostly as a result of human intervention. There were other human species in the past, like Neanderthals or Denisovans, and they interbred with our ancestors. However, if these three human species could interbreed, they should technically be classified as subspecies of the same species. This is a highly debated topic in academic circles, as it navigates between asserting our species' uniqueness and classifying us within the animal kingdom. New species arise through evolution and natural selection. Every time two individuals produce offspring by combining their genes, a variety of new mutations arise, most of which have no or even a negative impact. If a gene has a negative impact on the individual's reproductive chances, the gene usually disappears from the gene pool within a few generations. The gene is negatively selected. Occasionally, one of these mutations may provide a slight advantage in the individual's particular environment. This individual produces more offspring, ensuring the mutation's propagation. In simple terms, individuals within a species with the best adapted genes to their environment have a slightly higher likelihood of producing more offspring than others in their species without such mutations. The gene is positively selected. When two groups within a population continuously move apart, interbreeding between the two populations gets increasingly difficult. These two populations eventually reach a point where producing crossbreed offspring is no longer possible. This process is called speciation, and it can be observed today by taking a look at lions and tigers. These two species share a very recent common ancestor. Because of their close relatedness, they can still interbreed and produce hybrids, ligers. If lions and tigers continue to live in separate world regions, they will eventually reach a point where producing hybrids is also no longer possible. A similar process started around 7 million years ago, leading to the separation between humans and chimpanzees. Back then, the African continent was covered in forests, but as the global climate was moving towards the Ice Age, temperatures dropped and grasslands began to spread. The lineage leading to humans and chimpanzees began to diverge. While some of the population retreated into the rainforest, other individuals gradually ventured further into the new habitat. However, the new environment exerted a different selection pressure. Mutations that improved survival on the ground were positively selected. For instance, the ability to stand upright to spot potential predators in the savanna was immensely advantageous, whereas this ability didn't provide a significant advantage in the jungle. Due to this and many other mutations that enhanced survival and reproductive chances in the savanna, these two populations became increasingly distinct from each other. Despite occasional genetic exchange between forest and savanna dwellers, the genetic bridge was severed after about 1.5 million years. The genetic differences were too substantial to produce offspring. The two lines completely separated and in an adventurous manner led to modern humans and today's chimpanzee species. This journey will be explored further in the next videos. Until then, stay safe and goodbye.